A man plotted to steal a wealthy collector's valuable painting by disguising himself as an authentication expert. The rich man's assistant opened the storage case and handed the artwork to this so-called expert named Jack. Jack had already identified it as authentic, but he pretended to examine it carefully before telling the collector, "I'll need to run a density scan with our equipment to determine if it's genuine. There will be some cost involved." The wealthy man said as long as they could verify it accurately. Money wasn't an issue, which played right into Jack's trap. Outside the lab, Jack's partner pulled out an electric screwdriver and loosened the screws on the ventilation grate. After removing the cover, he quietly crawled through the ductwork into the laboratory and hid beneath the scanning equipment. Jack powered up the machine and signaled his teammate, then placed the painting inside, closed the door, and set a 15-minute scan time. His partner immediately pulled the real painting from the device, hopped on a motorcycle, and raced to the master forger's studio. The master forger put on gloves, placed the authentic painting on his table, and compared it with the replica he'd prepared in advance. Noticing that the red tones in the forgery didn't match the original, he quickly mixed new paint to make corrections. With only 8 minutes left until the scan finished, his partner was getting anxious. The forger couldn't afford any delays. He used a screwdriver to remove the frame from the real painting, mounted it on the fake, and put the forgery in the case. His teammate strapped the case on his back and sped back on the motorcycle. But because he was driving so fast, traffic cops mistook him for a street racer and gave chase. With just over 3 minutes left on the scanner, he had to lose the police. He drove his bike onto the subway tracks and timed it perfectly to jump off just as the train doors closed, finally shaking the cops. When he arrived back at the lab carrying the fake painting and crawled through the ventilation system to place it in the scanner, there were only 20-something seconds left on the timer. The moment the scan ended, Jack calmly handed the forgery to the wealthy man and even printed out a fake authentication report, announcing excitedly, "This is absolutely genuine, extremely valuable." The collector didn't suspect anything was wrong. He packed the fake painting back in its case, paid the expensive authentication fee, and happily prepared to leave. But just as he reached his car, he suddenly noticed red paint on his thumb. He instantly realized the painting had been switched and quickly told his driver to turn around and go back. By then, however, Jack and his crew had already disappeared with the real masterpiece.